After honing my skills for more than 30 years in the financial services industry, I set up ActonAdvice in 2010. When I did so, I had a vision, and my vision was to create an orchestra, but a financial orchestra. In the advice space, there's a number of specialisations out there. There's conveyancing, there's investing, there's insurance, there's estate planning, there's mortgage broking, retirement planning. I haven't even gone near tax yet. The pain point that I saw from many of my clients is that they had to go from one specialist to another in order to find the answers that they were looking for. There wasn't one place that they could go and have everything that they wanted answered at the same time. To me, that was a little bit like trying to listen to a concert by going from one room to another, where in one room you might hear the winds, and in another room you'd hear the grass, somewhere down the hall you'd hear strings playing. It just didn't make any sense. So I started ActonAdvice and I started to build my orchestra. And I still haven't learned how to use this. But as often happens, as we built it, our client's pain point turned out to be our pain point over time. Because in the current market, the technology solutions that are out there are actually aligned the same way that things are now. So the current technologies are aligned with current industry practice. So whilst there's integration between, for example, personal insurances and investment planning, there's not between personal insurances and estate planning. There's not between investment specialists and conveyancing. It just doesn't all flow together. That leads to inefficiencies and it leads to business risks, because it means that if you're trying to work in those areas, you're rekeying information many times, not just twice, not just 3 times, often 4 times, and that leaves open to mistakes. So that can get to be quite scary. And I still have it. So rather than pull our hair out and rather than have our staff become disengaged, we decided that we'd solve it. And Treasure was born. I think of Treasure as our concert hall. It's the place where all things come together. And it's also the place where we can be the conductor. And make sure that you have the right information, the right people and the right systems, and they have in a timely manner. It's also eradicated duplication. So the idea behind Treasure wasn't to reinvent the wheel. So what we're saying is that there's an appropriate IT solution out there, then we adopt it. If there's not an appropriate IT solution out there, then we create it, we develop it. I'm using we in a very broad sense here, by the way. I'm not an IT person. So we're about 6 months into this plan at the moment, and we're already starting to see some successes along the way. This is just an example of our website. This is where our clients come into the whole Treasure process. They just log on through here, and then everything starts to come to them. Instead of them going to look for all the information and the pieces that they're looking for, it comes back to them. We work with a team of people, so we have some people in-house and we have other people that we very closely align with, and it means that we can share the information backwards and forwards through this Treasure process. One example of what's happened for us as part of this process is we have something, we call it part of our rainwater tank process, and it's something that Helen would spend a full day working on every month. Now, because of the integration of the information and the way Treasure has pulled it all together, it now takes her 10 minutes. Unbelievable difference in the day. The difference that takes is not just the time that Helen's been able to solve by doing that, it's also the fact that she's not the person inputting that information now. Could you imagine working on a whole pile of numbers across a whole range of spreadsheets for one whole day? And I suspect there are not many people in the room who'd be confident that every piece of information that they entered in that day was correct. So it has implications far and beyond just the time savings. Now, whilst our orchestra approach is quite unusual here in Australia, it's reflective of some of the leading overseas financial service practices. So I think it'll only be time before this approach is more widely accepted here. At present, according to the Ripple report, there's 18,000 financial advisors in Australia, although many of them are employees or associated with product manufacturers. It's estimated that about 3,000 of us aren't. So many of those who look to take advantage of that more holistic approach that I was talking about with their clients' finances and add a broader approach to solutions like mortgage broking, etc. into their practices. Vice versa is sometimes true, but it's a much higher hurdle to enter from mortgage broking to financial planning. But what we hope is that when that time comes, we'll have Treasure fully developed, white labelled, and ready to relieve their pain. I was also asked at the end of my speech to say what were the 4 tips that I would give someone who was actually looking at going on this journey. Firstly, I'd say we were unable to deliver a tech spec at the very beginning that said where we want to go. I had the music in my head, but I didn't have a music score, so it was very hard to sit down with someone and say exactly what they should do, what we wanted to do. So you do need an IT geek that you can really trust to come on that journey with you. Second, look for the pain points in your day-to-day practices. What's repetitive? What takes a long time? What's being copied from here to there? Thirdly, you need to be prepared to invest. That's an investment of time, it's investment in money, and you really need to invest in a sense of humour. Lastly, you need to be patient, that lady will. It takes a long time. It takes longer than you like, and it's always more complicated to get it right than what you first think. Thank you.